อนรับทุกท่านนะคะกลับเข้ามาอยู่ในงาน VR Thailand หรือว่า Venturize Thailand 2025 เหมือนเดิมนะคะกับนุ่นณชนันท์ค่ะทุกท่านคะสำหรับ VR Talk นะคะในช่วงสุดท้ายนี้ของเราเป็นหัวข้อสุดท้ายของวันนี้เลยนะคะก็คือ Panel Discussion ซึ่งหัวข้อนี้เป็นหัวข้อที่ได้บอกไปแล้วว่าน่าจับตามองอย่างมากเลยนะคะนั่นก็คือเรื่องของ The Future of HealthTech ค่ะ from lab to life นะคะ Ladies and gentlemen, and now it's the VR talk. I would say the last topic of the day, which is going to be a panel discussion on the topic of the future of health tech from lab to life. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our panelists on the stage. First, we have Mr. Mihai Irimescu, General Manager of Roche Diagnostics Thailand. Please. And also we are honored to have here with us Mr. Supot Mahapan, President of CP Medical Center Company Limited on the stage. Please welcome. And please join me in welcoming Mr. Prasad Waya Wachamai, Managing Director of Valor Health Company Limited on the stage as well. Please, ladies and gentlemen. And now it is also my great pleasure to invite on the stage our moderator, Professor Dr. Wisanu Miyu, Vice President of TSRI on the stage, please. And now it's the future of health tech from lab to life. And now, please, I would like to hand over to Professor Dr. Wisanu Ka, please.
ขอบคุณมากครับ Thank you very much. I think it's like after, if someone is still out there, I think we're gonna start the session soon. So, คุณมิไฮครับ can you speak Thai?
พูดไทยนิดหน่อยครับ
Okay, that's good.
เข้าใจ
So we can use two languages, right? So with, I think I will start. I think the topics we talk about like lab to life. So a lot of people thinking like a lot of work that researchers doing, we working in the lab. Just to use the knowledge in the lab to bring into real life. What do you think? It is very difficult or it's very easy?
It's very easy in terms of intention because it's a very important task to do, but it's very complex to make it happen in real life, right? So let me just try and put it into perspective, right? The biggest topic that everyone in healthcare, working in healthcare today, is challenged with is sustainability, right? Because if you think about it, take the US. The US is currently spending $5 trillion or about 17.6% of their GDP on healthcare. Thailand is actually coming at 5.6% of Thai GDP on healthcare and increasing significantly, right? Yep. So there is a big question about sustainability. And this is where us at Roche Diagnostics, so we are part of the Roche Group. Roche Group is a Swiss company, which is actually the second largest healthcare company in the world by sales revenue. And we have both pharmaceutical as well as diagnostics. So I'm part of the diagnostics division. We have intentionally dedicated a lot of resources into addressing this element of sustainability. So if you allow me, I can take you through a bit of a journey, right?
All right. So you have some slides to show.
I do, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so here's basically what we decided to do as a company because, as I mentioned, there was a big challenge on the sustainability of the current rate of spending, right? So we have aging populations, we have the growth of population, and we have different changes in lifestyle, right? People get more NCDs, non-communicable diseases, right? In the past, as a company, we used to be very much focused on the lower part of the screen, which was the cure, right? So on the diagnostic side, where I work, we would typically look into monitoring disease, right? And see how it progresses. On the pharmaceutical side, they would develop drugs that can help actually reduce the rate and the progression of the disease. But then we realized it's not sustainable anymore, right? We need to change something. So we moved into the upper part, right? As you can see there, which is focusing on developing both diagnostics tests as well as drugs that can either prevent, so things that can be used, for example, in screening, campaigns, right, or early diagnostics, or can actually prevent and stop the disease from onset in the beginning, right? So this was a very conscious decision the company took, and a lot of investment and many years of work. That's why, to your question, is it easy? It's not that easy, but it does require a lot of investment, right? Now, moving forward, there is a time lag, right? So we're developing all these solutions, but what we see is that unfortunately there is a time lag between when companies like ours develop solutions and when they are adopted by the healthcare system, right? And I have a couple of interesting statistics here to share with you. In Asia Pacific, about 70% of the clinical decisions the doctors make are based on diagnostics tests, right? But it's only 2% of the healthcare spend that is actually dedicated to the diagnostics solutions, right? So you can imagine that all rest of the healthcare spend is going into late stage intervention, right? So typically when people develop complications and they have to be treated for chronic diseases or other diseases at a late stage. So that takes up so much money. Imagine a world in which actually more resource was spent early on initial screening diagnosis, right? So you can actually have earlier interventions that are not so costly, right? The other example I have is in a disease that everyone heard about, which is diabetes, right? So diabetes is an NCD, non-chronic disease, which is like very prevalent these days, right? Only about half of the population which has diabetes know they actually have it, right? So I don't want to make a bad joke, but imagine that in this room there may be some of us who may have diabetes now and we're not knowing about it, right? And that is actually dangerous because this disease can be managed very well if it's well predicted, well diagnosed in advance, and if it's well monitored and well addressed with therapy, it can actually be quite, let's say from the quality of life perspective, it can be quite sustainable. If it's actually developing complications, which is unfortunately the other half, the 50% diagnose it very late, it becomes very, very costly, right? So that's why it's a bit more complicated, right? Now, this is the model that we're currently taking in our company, right? So what we're trying to do is we are using longitudinal health data, so from many, many countries, to prioritize the development of early and accurate diagnostics tests, right? What that allows us is to actually calculate and stratify the risk of various diseases in the high-risk populations, right? And what we can also do is that allows the clinician to use this to make clinical decisions about prevention. So for example, they can, based on the diagnostics test, they can tell the patient that they have to change their lifestyle, or they have to take a certain medication, or we can predict the most appropriate. Let's say the patient already has the disease, they are diagnosed, we can now predict the best course of therapy for that particular type or subtype of disease. I want to also share some example in practice because I think it's important to acknowledge that each healthcare system is different. Companies like ours are present in more than 200 countries in the world. Our solutions are global, but you have to integrate them into the local healthcare system. Otherwise, it doesn't really work, right? So I have 3 examples. One comes again from the diabetes space. So it's a partnership with the Ministry of Public Health, with the National Health Security Office, which addresses the type 2 diabetes in rural, upcountry areas, right? Where we are using what we call an integrated personalized diabetes management ecosystem, which is basically comprised of blood glucose monitoring tools, so it can be both a blood glucose testing device or a continuous glucose monitor. It can be a patient application to manage their diabetes data, and the clinician software that can track what's happening. And we're using this, and clinicians there are also using, brown rice nutrition and other advice for exercise, personalized to the patient to actually achieve diabetes remission. This is something quite difficult to achieve, to be honest, but actually the data from Surat Thani province, so this was the first one that was implemented, and now it's actually, in more provinces, has actually shown people completely remitting their diabetes or people actually maintaining it in a very sustainable level. The second example is actually liver cancer. So the project started in the Prapoklao area, so Prapoklao Hospital in Chantaburi province. And actually we started with the problem that many people living in that hospital network would get diagnosed very late with liver cancer. And the problem is late diagnosis means very low chance of survival, right? So what we have done is we used routine diagnostics tests that are being done in that area. So AFP and PIFCA, these are tests that are being done routinely, and added something new, something called GAD. GAD is a algorithm that combines those clinical tests with some demographic data about the patient, like gender and age. And with that, we can actually predict very early, much earlier than, let's say, ultrasound, and with very high accuracy, the chance for liver cancer development. And actually, they had a lot of success in catching cases which could be addressed very well by the system, and they could be referred to the main hospital. The last example is from cervical cancer area, where basically the government of Thailand, through the National Health Security Office, actually has funded the screening for cervical cancer, which has been amazing. And what we've done there, we used our solutions like self-sampling of cervical cancer, self-sampling kits, as well as the molecular test, diagnostics test in the lab, to actually screen more than 700,000 women in Thailand, which again it's one of the few cancers that can actually, if it's caught early, can be completely avoided, right? Now, what we currently see is we see another trend of artificial intelligence adoption, right? So I spoke about the sustainability and early intervention. Now we're moving into artificial intelligence. All different sectors of life have been touched by AI lately. Healthcare could not be an exception, right? So where we see use cases of artificial intelligence in healthcare, from our point of view as a company, we see it both early in terms of development. So when we develop drugs, when we develop diagnostic tests, it's very important that we can make it efficient, right? So AI tools and AI databases can help us to run some stages in the research and development much faster, so we can actually deliver the drugs or deliver the diagnostics tests in a much more efficient way to the market. They can even predict, for example, the AI tools can even predict which drug candidate is the best one to launch or to take into clinical trials. And it can even go further. It can, for example, predict the optimal dose for different type of patients, right? So it's very much utilized. Other ways of using the AI in healthcare is personalized care. So another example is continuous glucose monitoring, right? So you can actually have a patch sensor attached to your arm. It measures continuously your blood glucose, and based on some algorithm which feeds from your own data and pattern, it can, for example, predict, let's say, an event like a nighttime hypoglycemia, which everybody hates, right? Because it's very dangerous, right? So that's another use case of artificial intelligence. And last but not least, I would say another, maybe the third topic I wanted to talk to you about is digital, right? So we spoke sustainability, we spoke about AI, and digital is the other trend, right? What we see, historically as a company, we mainly produced instruments and reagents for the lab and tests, right? But now we see that a lot of our products are more into the digital solution space, right? This can be, for example, medical insights. So you can actually develop clinical decision algorithms based on digital insights, or we can also develop products for the lab efficiency, right? So inventory management or quality control and so on. So these are the trends I wanted to talk to you about in our space, in diagnostics. I don't have too much time to give this example, but this is a very interesting example that combines all the other, digital topics. So this is a solution which is a digital tool that can be used for managing the very, very difficult tumor boards. You know, some of you who work in hospitals in Thailand heard about the tumor board concept, right? This is to treat and to make decisions and to document the decisions of treatment for oncology patients, right? And this requires so much data from so many systems in the hospital. It requires a lot of matching with clinical trials, a lot of matching with the latest guidelines. And all this information has to be also documented in the same meeting, right? Some of these meetings can take hours, and the clinicians are wasting their time, you know, during that time. So we offer this solution that combines the medical insight with the admin side, the efficiency side, that we can actually offer to our customers. Finally, I would say a note on the complexity, right? Because you asked me how easy it is. Well, it's not so easy to develop these solutions. It takes many years, but I think the critical thing is we can't do it alone, right? Healthcare system is probably one of the most complex things, right? It has so many stakeholders, so we have to adapt to the local healthcare system, to the local infrastructure, the local, let's say, hospital information system, and so on. But I would like to close by saying we never give up. You know, so we've been in Thailand for 55 years, so this is ongoing. We appreciate the complexity, but things are moving very fast.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is for the first round. I think I heard that you talk about a lot on sustainability, and then you end up touching with the collaboration. So with Roche, from lab to live, normally how long does it take for one product?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I would say maybe around up to 5 years to actually really also have the clinic. Thailand is a special case. I would say in Thailand, because we have such a wonderful healthcare system with very, very high-level clinicians, we sometimes get the opportunity to pilot test some of our solutions early. You know, medical school university hospitals like Siriraj or, you know, Chulalongkorn, typically we actually work with them early in the development. But that's just more for clinical research, right? But if you ask me more for the commercial side.
Yes, for the commercial side.
Yeah, I would say it's up to 5 years life cycle. And for pharmaceutical colleagues, it's up to 10 years. So it takes a long time and a lot of investment.
Just 5 years still, I think for us, like I've seen from our record, from our system, take some of our product takes about 10 years, which I think is too long, right?
Yes, it's very long. And I think AI will help us there. So definitely I think the AI technology will decrease the time lag between research and development and commercialization for drugs, for example. Yeah.
I'll come back to you later. And then I would like to move to Kun Supot Kap. Go. So I'm confused now. I don't know which language to use. Anyway, use Thai and English. Kun Supot Kap, CP. With CP, right? We heard about CP. And then CP, we think about 7-Eleven. Don't get me wrong. And what CP has to do with life science and health?
Today I have to mention that I represent organization under CP Group. My organization is a CP Medical Center. We are developing, my company developing a new medical center for CP Group. So I'm just looking after this particular project to develop this. And also including all other matters that relating to the healthcare. For example, the drugs, the vaccine, and so on and so forth.
All right. With the CP, with your strategy, right? So Mihai said that, you know, like for Roche, they spend 5 years. But how about CP? How long do you spend? How long does it take for CP to develop one product or one service?
Actually, we are the CP Medical Center is going to be a healthcare service providers.
Yes.
And but we are a unique position because we call ourselves a medical centers because we are not only providing the healthcare service, but we are also aiming to incorporate the wellness and the preventive care, as well as research and education. Because we know so well that the area that we are going to focus requires a lot of research. And
this is difficult.
Yes, very difficult.
You show some information, right?
Through that today what I prepare to share with us is sharing from a private sector perspective that, as a service, healthcare service providers and from the private sectors, I think financial issues is one of the very high priority, right? To be able to be sustainable in the business and to carry on the development for the industries as well. And before we move on, I think the health tech definition may be different from person to person. What I like to scope here that the health tech, somebody focus on only the digital health. But in my understanding and to cover here, I would like to include, but from what Mihai just presented, I think health tech here also include those biotech and medical tech as well, right? Okay, I'm also the same. And I believe that we are in a very good timing that as we can see in the past few years that the health tech has been advanced a lot faster due to many factors. For example, it has more tools, like you mentioned, that it has AI, data analytics, and all the computing powers. And it has more data available, more device, more processes to collect data, and more discoveries. And of course, the last one is a more market awareness and demand for health tech. What I like to cover today is that I like to, when we say from lab to life, I think I like to start with what kind of interest that we have, right?
Yes.
What to go into the lab
Yeah.
first. And then I would cover the second part is the challenge. Once it's go to the labs, how to make it to go to the life. Okay, so these are the two main things that I would like to cover. So if we look at I like to categorize the health tech into, in my priorities, I think we would like to cover the health techs in wellness and disease preventions, and health tech in the screening and diagnosis, which I think Mihai covered quite a bit already, and care delivery and treatment, which is the major ones that I think there are many futures labs that I think there are many for us to look after it. Yep. Actually, there are many ways to categorize this, but I categorize it this way, based on the value chain, is where the health tech add values, okay? So the first, and I'll cover first the wellness and disease prevention. I think what actually my CP medical centers, we are looking for the future developments that I think health data collection and analysis. I'm not sure how many researchers here, but what I'm going to go through in the next 3 slides is I like to share with you that what I'm looking for. First is the health. I think people are more also, this is the world trend, because last year I had the chance to talk with the dean of the Harvard Medical School, and he also shared with us that the Harvard Medical School also aiming to cover the wellness as well as the preventive care more and more. And I think one key thing is that to be able to do that, I think we need to have data collections as well as the data analysis. So any research or any innovations about how to formulate or structure the data to be able to collect and to be able to process and analyze it. I think that's one health tech that I'm looking for. And also including, in order to be able to collect the data, I think biosensors is another area that we're looking for the new things that will have less invasive and provide more accurate data. And nutrigenomics, I think we know about genome quite a lot. Before the start, we just talked to Mihai and Kun Prasert that in Thailand, in order to be able to relate our genome data to the medical service, like a nutrition, to match with nutrition or pharmacogenomics, I think we need to have genome data available. And I think in the futures, we are looking for how to make Thai people, we eat food as medicine instead of eating medicine instead of food as a food. This is something, and I will cover that in the more, because we believe in the nature way that I think our human being, I think we have, if we take good care of ourselves, and food is something we need to intake every day. So I think food is inevitable. If we can match the food and nutrition from food, we do more research on the food as well as do more research on the genome data. And if we can match and make sure that we can produce the food that match with the nutrition match with the genome, our genomics data, I think that would be helpful. And in addition to the genomics, I think in our gene, I think it's the gut, the microbiome from our bodies, microbiome at the guts level as well as the skin level. If there are more research on how we can maintain or build our microbiome to help us in the wellness and disease prevention, that would be great. And the last one is the personalized wellness plan. Currently, nowadays, I think we can see that there are many wearables as well as many applications that provide information for us, but it's still very generic and it's still very not really personalized yet. I hope to see this more personalized and more impactful in the futures. The next area is the screening and diagnosis. The HealthTech in this area, I think you cover quite a bit. And we imagine that in the future, if Thai people or human beings, if we can, I imagine the machine that in Star Trek, that if we go to a machine that it can scan our body, and it can show us how healthy we are or any risk of any disease that we are facing. I think that would be the ultimate goals in the futures. Nowadays, if we go to the annual check, of course, many people say that the imaging is part of the diagnosis that helps a lot. But there are many research showing that if for each CT scan, it creates a lot of a side effect. And also it creates a lot of risk for us. Then I'm looking for a low-dose imaging. That's one of the screening and diagnosis. And liquid biopsies. Basically, it's the less invasive way, right? And I think Roche can also go in that direction as well. And the third one is the point of care at home diagnostic. We can see that if we can continuously monitor our health, I think that would be great, right? Now you can see that there are some innovations about the diagnostic equipments in the toilet, that every time you urinate, your urine can go through this kind of tasting machine. I think this is one of the innovations that in the future, if we can have this kind of equipments or any equipment that can help us do the checking or testing at home or anywhere, that would be wonderful. And we talk about the next generation sequencing. We hope that the genomic sequencing in the future would be, Thai people would be able to include that into our regular annual checkup, and also more and more findings about our gene knowledge. I think will help us understand human body better and better. And the last one is, I think, the care values, the care deliveries and the treatment. This is, I think, there are a lot of innovations and new development are going on, and it's going very fast. And I hope that the health tech in this area can also, Thai people and this region, Asia people, can benefit from it, like cell therapy, gene therapy, molecular medicine. I think these are the new therapeutic things that there are many research, and the top medical school in Thailand are trying to make it into a standard procedures. I do hope that health tech research can help Thai people to be able to benefit from this kind of a new therapy. Like nowadays we can see the CAR T cell is coming up, so it creates more hope for Thai people, right? And pharmacogenomic, I already mentioned that if in the future, if we can have every time we go to hospital or go to the clinics, the pharmacy, the prescribed pharmacy can go through the checking with our genomes, genome data, and we can receive the prescribed medicine, which is the most effective for us as an individual. I think that would be wonderful. And the last one, and it's the most important one, I put the wording here is a whole person and integrated care model. This is one of the top projects that I'm working on. Let me spend some time here. I think we're talking about the electronic medical record. I'm aiming for the electronic health record. And from my personal research, I think it's still the problem around the world that most of our medical record and in the future is the health record. How can we make this health record belongs to us as an individual? What I mean by that is that if we can have a comprehensive platform that we can combine or have all our medical record as well as our health record, genomics data, or our lifestyle, our continuously monitoring health record into electronic health record, which can be used by doctors to help to have more accurate diagnosis. This is something, it's a big thing that I think I talked to few physicians, a few doctors. It's not that, can you imagine that if a doctors, I think they would like to look at the record of each patient, what kind of medicine they have taken, what kind of lifestyle, in order to be able to have their accurate diagnosis. Instead of just doctors spend very little time with us because too many patients, as well as not enough data for the doctors. Or even with the big data doctor doesn't have time to go through all the medical records, let alone the health records in the futures. So if we can have a system that can collect the data, health record, as well as medical record for each individual lifetime, and have the AI to help the doctors to do the preliminary diagnosis. I think this is something that I'm looking forward to develop this system. And I'm would like to invite researchers who can do, there are many parts to be able to have this platform available. I think is not easy at all. One clear example is that nowadays, if you have a annual check report from different hospitals, how can you combine those data into one record that you can look back as a history for each biomarkers or each indicators? If you can do that, anyone can migrate all these health reports and make it into one. Please come to me. And we would like to make it online and available as a public health service. Okay, now we move to, I'm sharing about what I'm interested, and I think it should be the HealthTech research that I'm looking for. Now, once we have those interests into the research, this diagram, I think if you look at the upper half, is the diagram of the translational research spectrum that show from the researcher perspective. For each particular project is the timeline, in the same timeline with the lower half, which is from the private sector perspective. If we would like to develop a new product or have the new innovation into place, we will follow the lower half. But for the researcher, they will follow the upper half. That's the research, translational research spectrum from T0 until T4. I'm trying to understand and share with us that for a private sector to be able to participate in the research, where can we go in? And how can we work with researcher effectively? And I will, so I'll share with you the challenge. The first challenge is from the researcher perspective. I think from researcher perspective, the first one is for researcher, either doctors, nurse, technicians, if they want to have a research, to generate a research, I think they have to go through all the process a lot. And the process are impractical from my understanding. And I like to listen to the second half to hear from the related organization how we can resolve this, as well as the funding. If we can enable the researcher to be able to do their research more easier. I mean, to go through the IRB, the documentation that they have to prepare. If it's more practical, I think it will help Thailand to have more meaningful research and more innovations coming out. And the second one, I think, is the very problem around the world is the fund sourcing. This is a very big problem now, especially for private sector to participate. And the roadmap to commercialization, I think for researcher in Thailand, if they not just focus on the T0 to T2 as an academia, but if they can think through from end to end until their commercialization, I think that would be helpful. And my last slide is the challenge from a private sectors. The first one is, for me, if I like to support the research, I have to think of how can I make it become the products or become the service, right? So the process of discovery and ideation, how can I learn about the available research in the market or in the institutes? Now, besides the personal connections, I still don't see any facilities that can help private sectors or investors to be able to have the visibility on what research available. I think this is very important because it is the first step for a private sector to be able to join, to consider and join in the research. And the second one for a private sector is a fund sourcing. I think one of the organizer asked me to share is that how can a private sector to participate? Is there any successful models around the world? I look at the Mayo Clinic and Cleveland, which is considered private sectors, but they are non-profit organization. But how can they fund their research and become a private organization which not only provide a service, commercial services, but also the research? And it's still big question marks, as we're still looking for a model. And the last challenge is the regulatory support and compliance. I think once they're, especially in the health tech and bioscience, I think to become a product or become a service, it's very important that we have to go through a proper regulatory control as well as the compliance. And I think not only Thailand, but around the world, this is also one of the hurdles that a private sector have to overcome.
Right,
That's
thank you
all for
very
me
much,
now.
Khun Supat Krap.
Sorry
So,
for taking long.
a lot of technologies that you mentioned, I think, so if we have those technologies, our life going to be much better. Would we be able to see these technologies in the next 5 years?
We have to be more specific, but from my research, I think if you talk about digital health,
Digital health and
digital health means if we define it as those AI or the IT platform or data platform that will help the healthcare,
diagnostics.
normally is 3 to 5 years.
All right.
But for drugs discoveries and for medical equipment things, it can take 5 to 15 years. You talk about 10 years, but 5 to 15 years. It depends on how it's along the way. It's a lot of failure happens,
All right.
right?
Okay, so we have heard one keyword is fund sourcing. All right, so we have a next speaker, Khun Prasad. So I think this today is, I think the title of our venue is like a Venture-Rise Thailand. So we're looking for venture, we're looking for the good research, we're looking for a good product. So how can private sector penetrate to help or to support researchers? I think many researchers here at the event, at the venue, and at home. Khun Prasad ครับ
Okay, ครับ ขอบคุณครับ Thanks for the invitation for this session. Thank you so much. Being a small company, so I thought that my slide should be the most colorful in order to get some attention. But anyway, for my talk today, I would talk from the perspective of being the operator-based investor and business driver in health tech and biotech startups. I don't have the structured presentation, but I will share from my real experience of investing into the startups and where are they right now in terms of progressing towards the next step. Why I want to do this? Because I want to encourage the investor to invest into life science, right? And we have way. I think we have some business models that could make you more confident in terms of investing into this life science. Okay. As I mentioned, I'm the operator-based investor. Why? Because years experience in healthcare. I work at Eli Lilly at global office. So I have done M&A licensing, global biotech launch, new product launch, GLP. I think people know about GLP, right? We have licensed GLP since 2000 back during the time of Eli Lilly. And I also launched the osteoporosis product, PT.1 84, and become $1.6 billion at the peak sales in 2018. Plus, when I returned, I turned around one of the distributors in Thailand and expanded across Southeast Asia. And I spent another 10 years in my current job right now. So we believe that we have the ecosystem to, number one, the operating and drive commercial. I don't believe that investors should be sitting on the table every 3 months or every month and tell startup what to do. But I firmly believe that if you commit into the investment in healthcare, which we are, we invest and we commercialize. We drive commercial as well. We have the team under our infrastructure here in order to drive commercialization. We have the offices in Thailand and the Philippines. We are the only Thai healthcare companies in the Philippines for 10 years to drive commercialization. In terms of the investment, I will share in terms of the two areas. Number one is AI health tech. The other one is biotech. The first AI health tech, I think some of you probably know, Sati AI health tech. Sati AI health tech actually help government hospital retrieve money back from the Universal Fund. You probably know in the news right now that government hospital actually has a lot of lost claims. Some of them lost by 50%, some of them lost by 40%. The worst could be like 60%. This is actually big burden from the cash flow standpoint. Not only that, the morale of the staff, right? Imagine you are being the management and you don't get the 50% of the budget to manage your hospital. When at the end of the month, you have to pay 13 million baht to pay for the payroll, right? So this software, this system basically is an AI system and sweep all the data from the blood test, drug use, medical device use, what kind of procedures, all kind of things. And then it's helped users to make sure that they key the right data because it will alert, because some patients may have comorbid. All right? Some of the patients may not necessarily get the right agnostic, but this system will alert them. And not only that, it will make sure the keyword comply with Saposasha required and automatically convert ICD-9 or 10. And then auto audit as well. All that within seconds. So imagine with this AI automation can help with the hospital. Actually, they already progressed and used in several hospitals already. For us, I believe speed is key. Startups do not have time. Runway is short, right? Commercialization, aggressiveness is very important and very strong. So we closed the deal I think in July. And today, we have about 60 hospitals doing the demonstration, POC completed, and real commercialization according to the milestone. Our team focus on the commercialization. I want startup to focus on the tech development, right? Because that's they're based on that. We help with the support on the HR and accounting as well. Apart from the government, they also help with the payer as well. But we don't do not payer on the Thai side, but we do the payer in Singapore. I also went to Singapore, bringing them to Singapore to work to take on the job of AI automation on the claim, right? So they can do take the fraud claim, waste, and also the abuse claim by using AI automation. Instead of taking the very complex cases, 5 cases per day, they can finish within 5 minutes per case. So POC had been done, and now we're going to do some implementation in Singapore as well. So this is my job, right? Invest and commercialize. So these examples of the some number that they have done. So eliminate routine maintenance by 76.67%, reduce overall workload 40%, reimbursement income 62%, and they received they're the winners of several awards like OIC InsurTech Award, HealthTech Acceleration Program. Thank you so much for NIA, particularly because of funding coming from the TSRI. Without the investment or grant from the government organization, I will not invest, to be very honest, because we need them to start from the initial stage, warranted by the government organization with the award, with the events that they have done. And then I jump in during the seed and pre-Series A. So this is the grant and traction that they have done, right? So they get TED Fund, NIA, STEPS, and other hospitals has been using, as is shown here. POC and negotiation with 2 insurance companies in Thailand, and also insurance companies in Singapore as well. And demo requests, we have about 60 plus hospitals now. The national pains is the point that we need to drive passion to the startup. We need to make sure the national pains is a passion for the investor as well. Without the passion, there's no commitment, right? But investment without confidence, it'll become difficult. Having someone with the eyes of healthcare for 25 years, doing commercialization by themselves, willing to put the skin in the game, could help increase confidence on the investor as well, right? Mode gut, yeah. Thank you so much, Khun Supot, talking about the gut microbiome, because this is a biotech companies that we invest, and hopefully we'll be able to provide some services to CP. Mode Gut is a spin-off companies from the Bang Mot. Yeah, Bang T Cup. This is the, it's very, very interesting in terms of how we invest into this, because we've been in a GI for years. We are the sole distributor as well. One of our portfolio companies, we import FibroScan, right? That scan liver, non-invasive. So GI communities is basically our playground. So it's very natural that we invest into Mode Gut, right? Mode Gut microbiome, I think if people know, it's become the one of 12 hallmarks for the longevity. That's number one. Number two, publications of gut microbiome coming more and more right now. But the important part is that you need to have the data specifically and exclusively for a certain region. If you have gut microbiome data of North America, it may not be able to apply for Southeast Asia. We want to make sure that Mode Gut to become number one in Southeast Asia. The reason why we decided to invest, because otherwise Singapore is coming. Amelie is our competitors, right? Raised a Series A is $10 million US. If we do not invest in Mode Gut and pack and restructure it, we may lose our microorganism DNA and get it back outside of Thailand again, just like what we keep getting swapped and sent outside of Thailand, which I cannot stand for that. So, as a result, the investment here, we entered around together with the public companies, Thai President Food and some angels investor. We restructured the company. We set scientific advisory board. We have a former GI association president, actually Professor Pisit, right? Professor Pisit actually is the former Thai Liver Society. He actually is our board of director, scientific advisory board as well. We have the one of the top epigenetic KOLs on advisory board, right? And we also have the bioinformatic KOLs on advisory board. We basically make sure that the startup need to be set up just like how the world-class startup should be. You cannot have the proper board of director and scientific advisory board, because without it, you don't know how the guidance and gearing towards. Not only that, in order to prevent a competitor to come in and collect data from us, we work closely with all medical university hospitals. Right? We sign MOUs with all medical university hospitals. And here, as you can see, the data that we have collected now actually has surpassed Amelie from Singapore. According to the Mode Gut, they claim that they're number one in terms of microbiome data for Southeast Asia. We continue to collect the microbiome data by partnering with other countries as well, like Philippines and Indonesia. Right? So this is the grant collected, supported from the government, TESOL, TED Fund, Warshaw, right, and others. In terms of progress, the reason we invest in ModGut, not because it's helped with the healthcare alone, because we firmly believe that biotech help add value to the core industry of Thailand, which is food. Imagine you have the microbiome-based food, microbiome-based beverage, right? I think Pisupot already mentioned about skin microbiome. Right? So biotech add value to the core industry of Thailand. That will help springboard GDP of Thailand as well. So this is the progress that we have done. From 2022, which is the time that we invest, until now, 2025, we have about 10,000 database. We're number one in terms of gut taste in the hospital. We listed into all BDMS hospitals, and we continue to expand to other hospitals. We won Future Food Asia Award in Singapore. This is the startup. This is the event that all startup in Asia Pacific come together from Japan, etc., and Thailand. The first time they invited a startup from Thailand to attend this event. Fortunate enough, they won. Right? And they continue to work on their product development with global nutrition company as well. We believe that by having this database for Thai and Southeast Asia, this could go beyond just the lab. Imagine in the future, you could have gut health section in the supermarket. You could have the microbiome-based food in the supermarket. You could have the good microbiome certified for certain type of products, right? So that is how you bring value to the foundation industry in Thailand. And 2026, we are registering products and technology in the Philippines right now, which we'll be launching next year. Right, I think, I'm not gonna go through this, but it's very simple. Commercialization, execution, right? You need someone that have the eyes of healthcare. You need to have them to talk to the startups from day one, that they put the commercial in mind, right? I don't talk about tech because I don't know about tech that much, but I know commercial. I know what the doctor thinks. I know the setup of the key opinion leaders and how the cascade of influence to the specialist and to the GP, right? We know that how the doctor think according to the guideline. Never think about the technology that could disrupt the pattern that they are doing. No, don't do that. We just have to conform with their, what the practice they have done for years and modify and comply around it. You need to do some influence as well. All my life, I work with the doctors, right? And I have to wait for 2 hours and able to talk for 5 minutes. That's common. That is normal in our life, right? But that is the way it is. Here, concentrate on addressing national pain points rather than just technologies. Don't think about technologies, think about pain points first. At my office, there's many startups to come to our office. One of them came, and they would like to launch their technologies after spending about 6 to 7 years. Right? When they asked, what kind of label that you're looking for? It was, what label? I said, FDA-approved label, right? Because in order to justify the investment in technologies, you need to plan from the beginning that this is the best-in-class technologies that you want to compete. This is their label. How you want to win it? You want to have a better label approved by Thai FDA, right? If yes, you think back in terms of how you plan clinical study, how you plan to get the result in order to get such better label. Having a good label is help with your commercialization in order to, specification, and in order to win from the publication, etc. But some of these, they may not necessarily know, right? So early partnership with healthcare-focused investor, particularly those with operational experience, leverage their deep understanding of the industry. My job is simple. I pair capital with the deep understanding of healthcare and execute it. So what I could see the collaborative models in the future is government provide funding, having the healthcare focused investment, let's say the operator-based investment, plus the high net worth or the corporate that would like to go in healthcare but don't have such confidence. Pairing these three together, we could get a good funding to move forward, right? Focus on the seed and Series A, because once it passed Series A to Series B to Series C, publicly company limited will come in and jump on the good tractions of that particular startups, right? But this part, seed and series, the confidence is very important. Money is everywhere, but the confidence is not everywhere, right? And I would like to advocate for regulatory changes, such as implementing performance-based revenue model. Why I have to go according to the regulation? What if I can address the pain of the government and I get performance-based? Can I get revenue sharing? Can I get the what I retrieve back, right? Can I get some percentage of what the loss that you have, you're typically losing every year? Because it will motivate the startup to drive even harder. They could hit the unicorn level in a much faster fashion because of the financial incentive, right? Why we have to stick to the rules and regulation that we have seen for years. Okay. And I think finally they encourage government agency to enhance market expansion grants, right? So, and thank you so much for the TSRI, market expansion always help, yeah. Thank you so much. That's a quick thoughts from my a small company like Vela Health.
Okay, thank you very much, Khun Prasad. So I think I have a big round of applause to all the speakers. I think what I have heard today is possible to bring love to life. It takes time. It requires, I think, very, very, very big word. It requires a lot of money, a lot of investment. But how can we bring researchers and investors together? All right. We have another word that we're going to have another session about, like regulators. How can we have regulators? How can we speed up the process? All right. Like Mihai said, like now we have AI. Every country, every researchers can speed up their process within 3 to 5 years. But if we spend another 10 years for FDA approve, we cannot compete, right? So for a few last words for all the researchers and investors, what would you like to say, Mihai?
For researchers specifically, I think it's very important to focus on the unmet needs, right? I think to get the funding that we heard it's needed, to get the shortcut, maybe approvals from, or the ethics committees of the hospitals to be more, there needs to be a very serious unmet need, right? So I think that's where the various healthcare stakeholders in Thailand have to agree, and I've heard this here, what are the country's priorities to address from a healthcare perspective, and how much money are we willing to spend to solve those problems, right? And I think their collaboration between independent research group, university-based, hospital-based will happen because there's funding from government and there's priority given, right? So that's for the research. Also, the private sector is very willing to collaborate, right? We have hackathons. So for example, we do organize regularly hackathons for various specific problems to solve, right? Where we invite startups to actually pitch their solutions or their ideas. And then we can co-fund them for the financial part, right? And then the second one for the investors, right? We heard it, right? It's a long game, right? So you really have, but if you look at historical, right? the return on investment in healthcare is very strong. It may not be so fast cycle like in the tech, right? Like sometimes they go up very fast, triple-digit %, right? Healthcare takes longer, but I think on the long term, it's very sustainable, and the returns are there. So there needs to be very informed, very transparent investment, but I think the returns are there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Same questions go to Kun Supot krab.
I would like the researchers to make a clear picture of what their final outcome, especially like I mentioned that also Kun Prasad mentioned about the commercialization. What I mean by commercialization is that you may be in the stage 0, T0 or T21 or even up to T2, but along the way you encounters a lot of obstacles or any new findings. So make sure that your final outcome is clear, that what are you trying to achieve. And then along the way, if fail fast and restart again faster, I think the iterative process along the way of the research, I think you have to be able to be decisive and restart again and make sure that your final achievement is you stick with it so that it won't deviate too much and then you cannot follow all along the way until you achieve your final outcome.
Yeah, ขอบคุณครับ คุณประเสริฐครับ a quick one.
Okay, yeah, good. My recommendation is that you don't have to wait until finished product.
All right.
Because of when you come to life science, every step added value, right? Yes, of course, you have to think about the finished product. That's the end goal that you want to. But every step, you need to think about what value you want to add into your invention. Each value can be commercialized. Okay,
Right.
phase 1, phase 2,
Any
phase
phase.
3, any phase, it can be commercialized as long as you go to the right venues, as long as you structure it right? As long as you know your value proposition. What do you want to do? You want to commercialize finished product, or you want to become the research base and getting royalty fee, upfront fee, and build upon your platform and continue to make money from the royalty fee, but structure the way so that you make sure that finished product produced by big manufacturer outside of Thailand, the price, cost of goods sold, sale to Thailand have to be the lowest in the world. You can structure that into the commercial terms, right? So I want to make sure, I would like to the scientists to think in more agility basis, right? Don't go to one firm. Flexible is enough, but always think about value creation on each value, on each activities that you do, all right? And quantify it.
Okay, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time, but we can have a networking session in this evening. So like, if you have any questions, please, I think they would be more happy to talk to you. Anyway, join me to thanks to all speakers once again. ครับ ขอบคุณมากครับ
And thank you very much our moderator as well. Thank you very much all our panelists, Kun Mihai, Kun Supot, and Kun Prasad. And I would not let you leave the stage without a photo, right? So we are going to have a photo opportunity for all of you to capture this moment where we've learned quite a lot, I would say. We've learned the insights, we've learned inspiration as well, and also some of the challenges and opportunities from our experts as our panelists today. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Mihai Irmescu, Mr. Supot Mahapan, and also Mr. Prasad Wayawachamai. And up next, there will be some souvenir as a token of appreciation to all our panelists. So please, Professor Dr. Wisanu Miyu, Vice President of CSRI, will present to you some of the souvenir as a token of appreciation to all our panelists on the stage. First, please, Mr. Mihai Irmescu, General Manager of Roche Diagnostics Thailand. Thank you very much. And up next, please, Mr. Supot Mahapan, President of CP Medical Center. And last but not least, we have Mr. Prasad Wayawattamai, Managing Director of Vela Health, to receive the souvenir from Professor Dr. Wisanu. And this wraps up the first part of the Future of Health Tech from Lab to Live. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much all our panelists on the stage. And as I mentioned earlier, that our panel discussion has been separated into two parts. So that wrapped up the first part, only the first part. So we are going to continue to learn more from the experts in the second part, which is, of course, under the topic of the future of health from lab to life. But we'll dig deeper into, I would say, some of the regulations, some how, I would say, dig deeper on how we can speed things up, how we can push forward this kind of thing. And that's the future of health.